Here we go. Oh, welcome back to the Clout and Blue podcast. Post-match reaction for Man City Spurs, Aston Villa, our Champions League club. I've been waiting a hell of a long time to say that. I'm joined this evening live by Matt Kendrick in absolute brilliant fancy dress and John Townley. I'm never normally kind of nervous for a podcast, but I feel like excitable and shaky and like I'm going to stumble over my words all evening. Just take a moment to breathe, John. Somebody in the comments said as we were waiting to start, if there was ever a night where you were allowed to have a couple of tears, you've earned it. Tonight is the night. How are you feeling, first of all?
I've already shed my tears, unfortunately for everybody else. Just elated, mate. Cloud9. It's going to take a while for it to sink in, even though it's been months that we've kind of been waiting for this moment and anticipating it. But now that it's hit, I just can't, nothing's going to wipe the smile off my face sort of thing for weeks now. I'm absolutely buzzing, mate.
Matt, talk to me about the outfit, first of all.
Just saying to you off air, I've been wearing this all day in all my meetings, just in case, just in the off chance. I've gone and raided my dressing up box to try and cobble some kind of party outfit together. I think I've just caught a glimpse of myself. Do you remember John McCririck, who used to do the racing? I've got a weird look of John McCririck about me today, but I'm not the tipster here. You're the master tipster, aren't you, Dan? I don't give you much credit, but you called this last summer, didn't you, at our live event? And what's the phrase? Even a stop clock is right twice a day or whatever. Eventually, you were going to get one right, but this was a bold prediction. I thought you were talking absolute nonsense. Even with Unai in charge, you called it, mate, and we've delivered on it. It just feels surreal. We've been so close. It's been in touching distance. We've been in that top 4 or 5 pretty much most of the season. So why I didn't believe it was going to actually happen, I don't know. But to actually get over the line, it's magnificent.
Yeah, I'm not going to be too smug about it, although I can't wipe the smile off my face that I did predict 4th in the summer. There was a stage when John and I kind of looked at our predictions again, and I did say 5th in the end to say, like, oh, well, if 5th is the Champions League, I'll settle for that. But I did say 4th, first of all. Loads of comments saying, like, fair play, Dan, get that clipped up and posted. I will do it at some point, but not just right away. I haven't had a chance yet, but I will do it. I'll go back and listen to it and find it. The room laughed at me, and I remember at the time thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that because I feel like, I've been had here. But I just felt, why not? We saw Newcastle do it last year, and our back that we were better than Newcastle and could be better than them, and maybe they would have an off season. We've been in the Champions League themselves, Man United, Chelsea, whatever else, and you just thought, what if they can do it? Why can't we do it? But it was a bold prediction, and I thought along the way maybe there would be a spell where we do fall away, or it's going to be a step too far for us. But just kind of thinking back to the season, and I won't apologise for this podcast being a mess and being a bit all over the place, but all the kind of worries about Man United catching us and how far ahead we've finished of them. Spurs, what if they win here and draw there and the goal difference? And it's like a couple of weeks ago we said, well, 67 points might be enough. And it would be, because Spurs can't even get to that now. We didn't need the point last night. We don't need anything against Crystal Palace. Like, I almost can't quite believe that we're talking about it, and it feels amazing, and we're buzzing, and everyone in the comments is absolutely on cloud 9. It's absolutely lovely to see, because I recognise a lot of the comments that watch every single week dating back to when we first started. And I remember me and Matt, you and I doing the staying up on the last day against West Ham podcast, and the screenshots of us like celebrating, like, what a massive deal that is. 3 seasons later, we're totally at the other end of the table celebrating Champions League. But I think until we talk about it a little bit more, and we see it in the next few weeks, and we see the draw and all those kind of things, I don't think it'll quite sink in yet, just what a massive achievement that is.
Just all the way along, I've been like, don't jinx it. I think you've done one of your explainer podcasts saying this is the new format of the Champions League, and you little bits and pieces. I was like, no, just don't. And I know you're consummate. Praising you a lot today, Dan. I think I should be giving Unai Emery and the lads
I'll take it.
Rather than you, but I know you're the consummate professional and you like to prep. I've been like, don't. Let's just wait. Even when that second goal's gone in tonight, I thought, oh, don't jump on the, don't get your laptop sparked up just yet, because these things could still kick us in the nuts. I think you're right. I think once we see the draw and once we hear the music and once, we're in Villa Park and John's the lucky one who gets to bugger off all the way around Europe to witness it. When we can feel it and it's tangible, I think until then it still feels like a little bit of a dream and a bit surreal.
Yeah. We'll do it. That podcast I did was audio only about the new format. We will, now it's confirmed, we will do a version for YouTube as well in the coming weeks. With that new format, we play kind of 2 teams from each seed, so we're guaranteed to play 2 of the big boys, if you like. John, for you, have you yet thought about a potential trip to a Allianz Arena, Bernabeu, Nou Camp? You thought about it? Yeah, we dreamt about it.
Since September. No, it's I have stayed clear of some things, like thinking too far ahead, because you don't want to kind of get lost in it and then feel, so I wouldn't say let down, because even if we were to finish in the Europa League this season, for me that was a good season, or at least that's what I said before the season started. But of course, expectations change in a campaign, and what I've said in the last few months was, it's so important that Villa get to the Champions League this season because they have the opportunity to do so, and they are so close. Just get over the line, and now that we're there, so much relief and joy. But next year, I just want to enjoy it. Yes, I'm the lucky one who gets to go there, and lots of other fans, will be there too. But even watching from home, or even if you can't get a ticket for the home matches, I think everyone will just enjoy the spectacle of the Champions League at Villa Park. Aston Villa back in the, back at the top table of European football once again. And, we've been through it before. That I hope that as long as Unai Emery is at the club, we'll be in Europe and we can compete for trophies. This is his first full season at Villa, which is mad. I think that gets lost on a lot of people. And I understand he came in relatively early last season. But the impact, the transformation has been, it's unrecognisable from where we were. And it's really exciting to see where we can go, because again, we've had a European campaign this season, we've had injuries, we've had everything that you can throw at us. I've said before that everything that you could say to why Villa would maybe fall off next season, well, we've answered that this season. Yes, we may play 2 more games in the league phase, group stage, whatever you want to call it. But Villa have shown that they can manage it. Maybe we go and play more games in Europe next season. Again, if we go far in the Champions League, who knows? But I fully back that. After the summer, we'll be in a good enough position anyway to attack what will be, hopefully a really enjoyable campaign next season as well. But one, as I say, that we can just take in and absorb, because we've done the hardest bit, which is just to get in the Champions League. Hopefully sponsorship comes, and I know Chris Heck was talking about the business side now needs to kind of match up with the football side. That could take years, but as I say, while Unai Emery is at the football club, we're in a really good position, and I'm just so glad for him, his staff who have all been fantastic, the players who have bought into his ideas, the fans as well who have bought into his ideas. And I know that might sound easier than what it is, but for a few weeks there was moans and groans around Villa Park about us playing out from the back. I can't get my words out. And we've all bought into it. This is now Unai Emery's
Champions League Villa.
It really is, yeah. This is his thing, and he's the man behind it. But there's a lot more that goes with it. Even little subtle things, like for example, last night when Emery signed off his message to the supporters, it was Damian Vidagani who told him, go back and give a big up the Villa down the microphone, and he did. And it's those little things that I think, yes, like we got people at the club now who know they know Villa, they know what it's about, and. It's I'm so proud of them. I'm proud to be a Villa fan, of course, but for some reason, or maybe I'm a bit surprised myself that I'm going towards. I'm so proud of the players and the staff. Maybe that's because I've been kind of closer to it in the job I'm doing, which is an absolute privilege. But that's where I'm angling my kind of my pride to, if that makes sense. And then I think in the coming weeks I'll look back and think, we're that club now. We didn't have to think about Man United or Tottenham or other clubs. We deserved it, and I think it could have been an even better season if it weren't for other things, but it doesn't matter. It's been a remarkable campaign.
And I'm not alone here in I cannot wait to hear what food they're serving up in press boxes across Champions League clubs. What Dortmund's selling in there. I want to hear all about it, John, next season. Even little things, and this is me being a little bit of a a sad loser, being able to put the Champions League logo down on the podcast, like it's normally the Premier League logo, like that's something now that we can have. The Champions League.
I did notice that.
It's mad, isn't it? Like it's still like coming out my mouth. It feels strange to say, even though, as Matt said earlier, like, it feels like we've been building towards this for pretty much all season, and we've all talked about like limping over the line and all this kind of stuff. To actually do it now, it's mathematical. One game to go. The Villa fans that are travelling down to London for Crystal Palace will have an absolute party on Sunday, and they absolutely deserve it. But everyone will enjoy this moment. Unai Emery, the pictures from the player awards this evening, some of the videos, Ash Priest is there taking videos of Martinez spraying champagne bottles and all sorts. There's a brilliant picture of Unai Emery celebrating that Villa have tweeted. Like, just the feel-good factor around this club now will last for the entire summer. All the transfer rumours, the build-up, the draw, like we said, just everything feels so good, and we all deserve it, don't we? I know a lot of people don't like the kind of look back of, 5 years ago, we almost went bust, but that is a fact. We were in the Championship. We stayed up on the final day. We had Steven Gerrard taking us down effectively, and Mr. Unai Emery comes in and changes all of our fortunes. And here we are now, about to embark on our first ever Champions League campaign. That is absolutely incredible. And we'll talk about Emery in a sec, because he deserves his own, well, he deserves his own podcast, but he certainly deserves a segment in this. Matt, just quickly on tonight, we said, didn't we, last night on the post-match show that it would have been nice to be mathematical last night and have this kind of celebration at Villa Park and whatever else, but we've done it tonight, it doesn't matter. How did you feel watching that tonight, watching Man City Spurs? It was a very strange experience, wasn't it?
I was quite nervous during the day, to be honest. I don't normally get distracted by work. But I just felt it. Again, it's just year after year, decade after decade of being programmed to fear the worst. And, even, like I say, even when the second goal, well, actually, to be honest, when the second goal went in, I was pretty confident that we were over the line. It's funny, because I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm still mates with Jack Grealish's dad, and he texted me this afternoon. And a big Claret and Blue exclusive. He said that he'd had a text from Nassef Sawiris today saying, "Go on, see if you can get it done for us." So good that Big Nass is even trying to call in old favours and stuff like that. I mean, we didn't need Grealish from the bench in the end. But now it's just, this has been a long time. I mean, the 5-year project that Sawiris and Edens and now Unai Emery, and listen, Dean Smith's played a part in that. Steven Gerrard's played a part in that. Maybe the villain of the piece rather than the hero. But the 5-year project, lots of people, I don't know whether they've actually come out. Have they actually gone on the record of said that there's been this 5-year project to get in Champions League, or is that just something that's just kind of entered the ether? I'm not sure. I think Tony Jaa had a 5-year project, but that was probably to build a theme park around Villa Park or whatever it was. But to actually deliver that turnaround in that space of time, but let's face it, this has been 40 years in the making, really. And we know the format's changed massively since then. But we've had, it was different then, but we've had Big Ron, we've had John Gregory, we've had Brian Littleloo getting us up towards the top of that table. We've had Martin O'Neill. We've spent a fortune under Martin O'Neill to try and get us there. So to actually have done it, it feels bizarre. And I'm so old school that I don't really. I mean, I've got a stupid hat on and a scarf and a shirt on because I'm an idiot, but I still feel a little bit funny about celebrating just qualifying for a competition. To me, celebrating, you know what I mean?
You're doing a good job at hiding it.
No, well, yeah, you know what I mean? It's just a front, all this is. You know what
I know what you mean. It's kind of the same thing we had to a much different extent, that when we got promoted to the Premier League, there was a lot of people that went, yeah, but we shouldn't have been in the second division anyway. Like, we shouldn't be celebrating getting back to the Premier League. And I kind of see what you're saying. Celebrating getting to a European competition shouldn't really be a thing. We should be celebrating trophy wins and titles and whatnot. But this is where we are, isn't it? This is the level. We've not been in this competition in its current format. We've not been in the competition since we won it, or the following year. This is where we are. This is what football is, and we've talked about it a lot, haven't we? Would you rather win the Conference League or get qualified for the Champions League? And the answer for us was always the Champions League, because of what it does for the club. And yes, it's not a guaranteed silver bullet for success. Qualifying for the top four means you will go on and be successful forever. But stands you in pretty good stead at having a good go at it. You've got to be in the elite competition to build your club over time. So, yeah, I've seen people saying things yesterday with Spurs about like their fans saying, "Oh, we're not that bothered about Champions League anyway because we're not going to win it." It's like, well, yeah, but that's not really the point, is it? Just being in it is something to celebrate, and it helps you build long term. You can be in a position to win other things. Maybe like us being in the Champions League for 2 or 3 years, maybe means we can build a squad to go and win the FA Cup, for example. I find that bizarre from Spurs, by the way. Like, they did get to a final just a few years ago.
I think this with the Tottenham thing, I think they've had it for so many years, but they've also got nowhere with it. So they've brought in the money, they've brought all the revenue. You know, that's fine. There'll always be a big six as such, or a top eight, if you want to call it now, with Newcastle and Villa. So I think for them it was a case of, well, if we get Europa League, we'll probably have a better chance of winning it. Champions League isn't the be all and end all. And I know Anne just spoke a lot about that as well. But for Villa, this really was, don't say everything because that's not true, but this can be a real difference maker for where the club goes in the next few years, because everything you've said there, Dan, is absolutely correct. Plus, we have the people in the building using that money, Monchi, Unai Emery and Damian, you know, all these people, they know exactly what they're doing. We're not just giving it to, you know, any old kind of recruitment team. Our recruitment team have proven that they can build a team that are capable of getting to this position that they're in now. You know, give them more opportunities to do that. And even, you know, in the last 5 months or 6 months, Morgan Rogers coming in, that's like one sign of a player that we can recruit and make a tangible difference in the space of weeks. That's the sort of thing I'm looking forward to now in the summer. It's, you know, it doesn't have to be spending huge amounts of money. Villa obviously have targets now or that they will pursue because they've got the Champions League. It opens the door for a new caliber of player who would now be more interested in joining Villa. But to be honest, I think just being in Europe and being the club that we are with a manager like Unai Emery, we're a hugely attractive prospect anyway. So I think the majority of targets that we go for would come to us. It's just that, you know, you've got to now kind of factor in the financial side, which, you know, there's, again, probably worthy of an individual podcast on itself, Dan. We won't get into that now. But yeah, really excited for what the summer brings. But all in all, it's going to be a really enjoyable season next year anyway. And I do think come the end of the summer, we'll be in a better position than what we started.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, mate. Can you remove John for 5 minutes? Because I want to tell you how jealous I am of him, and how, as his boss, I might just pull rank and have the press pass for Bernabeu away. But I don't want to upset him.
I'm expecting a battle for this. I really am.
Listen. I won't hold a grudge for too long. When I was a Villa reporter way back when you were a little, whatever you were, a little toddler or whatever, I got two European aways. Rapid Vienna in the qualifying round of the Europa League or UEFA Cup, the 1 year, we lost. Second year, Rapid Vienna in the qualifying round of the Europa League, and we lost. Now, the Vienna Zoo is a beautiful place, so I recommend you go around there. I went around there twice, but, you know, God, you're such a lucky young man, John. You really are.
No,
yeah, John, just to shine a light on you a little bit. I know you weren't particularly like this, but I saw Matt obviously tweeted a couple of days ago about kind of the great job that you've done this season as your, you know, talk about Emery's first season in charge. This is your first season as the Villa reporter for Birmingham Live, which is a big ask in itself to cover the club as well as you've done all the way through in Europe, in the Premier League, and now to be kind of rewarded like all of us with Champions League nights next season. I know you always sound like it's a privilege and stuff, and I know that the conversations we have privately, that is absolutely true, and you're not saying it for the sake of it. And I am now going to shine the spotlight on you and let you kind of have your say. What's it been like genuinely to experience this at a young age as well? Just talk to us a little bit about what this season's been like for you personally.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, the kind of it being the first season or my age or whatever, I'm not like particularly focused on that, because it's like, you know, I have the job because hopefully I deserve to be here. But I know exactly what you're saying. But covering
like a true footballer that breaks into the first team at a young age.
But covering the club in itself, obviously it's different because I've only had, I mean, previously when I've been working at like Cheltenham Town or something. So it's completely different in terms of how a Premier League club operates, but also not working with Unai Emery, but being in his space sometimes twice a week for the last why are we 9 months or something to the season started. That's been something that I can't relate to kind of elsewhere. I would always, kind of move in with Ash, do bits and bobs when Steven Gerrard was doing press conferences, or even Dean Smith at the very start. So that's all I can kind of compare it to. But being in Emery's presence, I suppose you'd say, and how he conducts himself, and how he kind of, I don't know, represents Villa as a whole as well. That's something that I think a lot of fans are aware of, and how he conducts himself. The kind of the whole no excuse culture and stuff, but all of that I guess like energy that he gives off, it's something that he exudes out of press conferences as well. I'll always go back to when I was in America, and he'd stop for photos with younger kids and stop for chats, with myself as well. Just being very personable, very open. And I think Emery can sometimes, when he's on an interview, for example, it can be easy to think that he's, just this absolute tactical mastermind. And I think you said in the podcast yesterday, Dan, that it's nice to see the kind of the human element of Emery as well. And we know it's there. But as I say, I've kind of had the privilege of kind of seeing it behind the curtain as such. That might sound strange. But seeing how he is and how the club has operated throughout the season, it's been, as I say, obviously a privilege covering the club across Europe, in America, as I say. It's been strange because it's also been like incredibly full on. So I don't know where the season's gone, and it feels like only a few weeks ago that I was, covering the game in Legia, and where's that time gone? So it's been an absolute like rapid season as such. But I'm looking forward to next season now. I feel like the next 5 years or 5 seasons will just go like that. So I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I possibly can. But I wouldn't enjoy it as much if we weren't, or as yourself, Dan, as well, like working so hard to put podcasts out and do extra work, kind of working long hours throughout the day. And as I say, I never treat this as a job. It's more of a kind of like a hobby, writing about Villa. It's what I was doing before. Luckily enough, I get the opportunity to be paid doing it. So there's no other words than privilege. And no, I won't do it for free, Matt. No, I won't.
Matt, do you want to add anything to that?
He's not helping, John, to be honest. I had Paul Lambert. This is supposed to be a moment of celebration, and you're just making me feel like a real gnarled, jealous, envious old man. I'll tell you what, your European trips, you can have half a baguette and some tap water for going forward. I'm not signing off anything more. Now, in all seriousness, I did tweet about John the other day because I think the season's it's been such a kind of busy season that outside of these experiences when we catch up on podcasts, I've not really been able to probably should have found time just to say what a good job he's done. Listen, people probably don't really care that much about the kind of inner workings of the press around Villa, but it's a big football club. Even when we've been crap, it's always been a big football club, and the local paper, local website journalist has always had that kind of pressure to try and reflect what the fans are thinking, ask the questions that the fans want asking. A lot of scrutiny, even more so in this age of social media, where everybody's got a direct route into you, and where we're asking you to juggle so many things. Where listen, people will be working down mines and in factories and working stupid hours. So I don't want to go woe is me on it, but we demand a lot of you. And I think, your first job in journalism, you've done it brilliantly. And it's been a pleasure to have you following what's been a remarkable season. And hopefully next season surpasses it, and the season after that surpasses it. But the bar's massively high now, not just for Unai Emery, but for you, John Townley. So bring it on.
No, absolutely. And we've said before, Dan, and this isn't the kind of the Claret and Blue Loving show, but we want to do more, and we feel like we can do more as well on the podcast in terms of written content as well. And Villa being this good is obviously helpful because it brings more eyes to what we can do, which in turn makes it easier for us to do more things. So, a good season all round for Villa and us as well, for sure.
Not quite finished yet. One more game, one more match preview against Crystal Palace. So what we're going to say in that, it feels so irrelevant, doesn't it? We'll talk about that later in the week, I guess. Well, I've obviously got our Claret and Blue live show. For those that didn't see the post-match reaction for Liverpool, we announced that yesterday. That is for the 4th of June, which is a Tuesday. You might notice there's a bit of a break between Crystal Palace and the 4th of June because we thought there might have been a European Cup final to think about, but that is not the case. So we'll carry on this party mood right up until June, no doubt, when we're talking about Champions League. The tickets for that are free, and they'll be available from 6 p.m. on Wednesday. I did think about doing it earlier tonight to kind of celebrate and jump on the bandwagon of the buzz of this evening. But I've already scheduled it all for 6. So 6 p.m. tomorrow, you can get your free tickets. Come and see us. We'll be chatting about Villa, the Champions League, transfers, whatever. And we'll be joined by some familiar faces to the podcast as well for an audience Q&A. So please do come along and get involved. That should be a great night now for us to celebrate with 300, 400, 500 Villa fans and talk about the season. Let's have a bit of a chat about Unai Emery then. A word from both of you about him. I don't know how many more times we can say things like he's a genius, he's a tactical mastermind, John, like you just said. But the job that he's done in 18 months to take us from the relegation zone effectively to 7th last year in the Conference League, give that a bloody good go this year as well, getting to the semi-final and playing some difficult opponents, managing all that alongside some of the worst injuries we've had in recent years, and cement 4th with 1 game spare is an unbelievable achievement. We've spoken about Manager of the Year. Absolutely no doubt in my mind that it should be Unai Emery now. John, Matt, I'll come to you, Matt, first, because John, you've just spoken a fair bit, I suppose. Matt, just how do you describe this fella now? This fella, so disrespectful. This guy.
I think we're all aware of his back catalogue of work in terms of what he's won, the clubs that he's managed, his reputation as a tactical genius. Obviously that was, I think it was hard for him at Arsenal because I think he probably wasn't used to failing. And I don't think he really failed there necessarily, but I think the perception of him that he was. But the thing that's really pleased me about it, and I only see, I don't get access. I'm not a press box dweller anymore, so I'm not a press conference. So I only see the bits that we see when we're at matches and that we see through his TV interviews and the quotes that appear in the press. But just the humility of the guy, just what a gentleman he is, what an ambassador he is. We spoke last night about the celebrations or the lap of honour last night, and even then it was still a real moment of connection, but I still felt there was a kind of modesty there. Even when he's kind of conducting the whole end, it's I don't know, almost like a kind of a gentle manner about him. And I've made a big thing in the past, probably because, without harking on about my days too much, I have been able to meet and interview lots of managers in the past. I think not only do you listen, if you're winning football matches, you could be horrible, you could be the worst kind of human being in the world, and we'll love you because you're winning football matches for our club. But I think there's a pressure and expectation and responsibility for the manager of our football club to be this ambassador as well, and to lead by example. So I'm taken by that side of it because I think that's really important, and I think he understands and he respects the office, if you like, of being Villa manager. I can't. We've run out of superlatives for him because to bring about this culture change in such a short amount of time, and to do it without any sense of ego, and to bring everybody who he needs, all the kind of stakeholders, if you need, whether that's the board, whether that's the administrative staff at Villa Park, whether that's the fans, whether that's his first team squad, to bring them all along in such a rapid, a short amount of time. I've not really seen anybody have that kind of instant impact with Villa, and the fact that he's been able to do this. I mean, we're talking 18 months now, are we? Really?
Yeah, November
like
22 to
20 months.
If I dare to dream, which is hard because I've got a filter that tries to stop me from dreaming, if I dare to dream what this guy could achieve in 5 years with the right laboratory conditions and the right backing from the owners and from the fan base, I really do think, I really just hope this is the start of something, not the kind of pinnacle of it, really.
And the exciting thing after all that, John, is he will get a new contract in the summer.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, the one that he just penned was kind of like an extension.
Just penned. That's the most journalistic phrase you've ever said on this podcast.
Yeah, it's all in my head. Yeah, he is, I presume, well, after the owners, because the owners, of course, are the ones that have allowed us to get to this position in the first place. But Emery is he is almost as important as them, or the third most important person in the club, I suppose you'd say. Like Liverpool, like other clubs potentially. I've said this for a while, and I think other people have as well, that certain clubs need that focal point. They need someone to look up to, as that's Aston Villa, or this man is going to take us to this position, and we believe in him. We had that in a different way with Dean Smith, kind of in recent times, but kind of, we were trying to get out of the Championship, and obviously Dean Smith's level isn't of Unai Emery's level. No disrespect intended at all. But Emery has been there before, and he's taking us there as well. What I loved actually from his message to the fans after the lap of appreciation yesterday, it was the same as last season. You had McGinn talk, Martinez shout down the microphone, we're going to Europe, or we're going to the Champions League. But when it was Emery, the whole place just shut up. And it was the noise just went down completely, as if you were just turning it down on your radio or whatever, because everyone just wanted to hear what Unai had to say. Like, even there was no whispers. You could hear a pin drop. It was that kind of encapsulated everything of what he's built at the club. It's like he is the Messiah for Aston Villa, and he can do no wrong, and he has done no wrong. It's the job he's performed couldn't be improved by any other manager in world football. And while that's, I suppose, only an opinion, really, I do believe that there's no one else. And we've said it before, haven't we, Dan? We get questions in the Q&A about other managers. Would you swap him? I wouldn't, even if it was like guaranteed success, because you just love the man. Like, for what he's done, he's everything that you want in a manager. He does it in a different way to a Klopp, who's more. Unai is animated on the touchline, but animated in in kind of that personality sense. Unai isn't exactly that in terms of, or at least in front of the press. I think behind closed doors, you probably see more of that. And I know Leon Bailey said he's the funniest manager that he's worked with, and we don't quite see that. I've only seen it kind of in snapshots in press conferences. But yeah, there's no one else that I'd rather see, or that I'd rather have leading Aston Villa. Even to more levels from here, because who knows what can be achieved in 5 years. As Matt said, this is only 20 months of work, and he's had one full kind of pre-season. It's really exciting. And I know I've said before, this could be as good as it gets for Villa, and I don't mean that in a bad way of, we're going to come down from here. That's not the point. The point was that, are we going to win the league? Who knows? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But obviously that's a long shot in the next years. But what we do know is we have European nights, memorable nights to come. We have money coming into the club because of Unai Emery finishing positions, Champions League this season, hopefully next as well. Trophies, hopefully. This is like the golden era, not of Aston Villa in 150 years, but of the kind of the recent generation.
Yeah,
this is it. So we really just have to enjoy kind of every day that we have this manager.
I said earlier about the Spurs kind of narrative of what's the point being in it because we're not going to win it, which is an attitude I don't like. And I'm not. I know obviously I had my big prediction last year of we're going to finish fourth. This is not me making a big prediction that we're going to win the Champions League next year, but there is an element with tournament football that you're reliant on the draw a little bit. We have no idea what this new format next year is going to bring. You may have the pot 3 or pot 2, you might get the worst teams in those pots, and you have a pretty easy group stage. We've played a tough Conference League. There will be some teams in the Champions League that are comparable to that, or not as good, even depending on how various leagues go. Unai Emery got Villarreal to a semi-final of the Champions League, so Aston Villa have more resources than they did. They've got better players than they did. I'm not suggesting next year we're going to get to the Champions League semi-final. Although if we do, this is the bit to clip up for next year. But anything is possible with this manager, and that's the belief that he's instilled upon any of us. That if you'd have said even a year ago qualifying for the Champions League would have felt like a long shot. So to now to say, it's getting to the quarter-final, the semi-final, that feels like a million years away. It might not be. It might be 2 years away, because the progress that we've made in 20 months sets you up to believe that anything is almost possible under this manager. And as I say, the format, a favourable knockout round, a red card in the quarterfinal, things happen in football that can go your way sometimes and against you, obviously, as well. But why not? Why not believe? Why not dream that this is going to be the end of it, or this is going to be the pinnacle? Go and win things, go and win trophies, go and get to knock out the latter knockout stages of these competitions, and and make yourself a big club again in the here and now.
Do you think that this brings added exposure, added scrutiny? You know, I know we're not part of the big six, but we're now part of the little four. And, you know, I remarked on Twitter tonight that it took them. I don't mind whether the national media give us credit or whatever, because we're here to bang the drum kind of on a very local, parochial, biased level anyway. But 82 minutes it took for him to into the commentary of tonight's match to mention Aston Villa. I thought it was quite telling that it was 82, because that's we like that number, don't we? But 82 minutes, you know, and I know that, listen, I know there's a lot going on in that tussle for the top two positions, so I understand that completely. But there was even mention of Tottenham in the context that they needed to win the game to get in the top four. There's never really any discussion of whose expense that would be at. And, you know, and there was a lot of, I saw something on social media today. I didn't watch, I was at the match, so I didn't watch the Monday Night Football coverage, but there's a clip of Gary Neville who's saying that, you know, Villa aren't a Champions League squad. So basically praising Emery by saying what a job he's done. And I took that in the manner that I think it was intended, that I think that was a compliment, He wasn't being disrespectful towards Villa. He was talking, you know, about the fantastic work that Emery's done to get that squad, even the, you know, the reserves and et cetera, the fringe players playing at a level that they could sustain this all season. But I think we've all, you know, there's been a little bit of a clamour to say, take us seriously, we're the real deal. We've been here all year. We've proved that now. I think you've got to be kind of careful what you wish for now. Because I'm not saying this, we're suddenly going to collapse under that increased expectation, because we're a very expectant fan base anyway. Yeah. But I think there's going to be more and more people, more and more clubs, the media, who are probably, look, Villa are big now. Let's try and take them down. I think we're going to become a scalp. We're going to become a scalp, really. And there's another interesting thread across social today saying how we're going to have to adapt our game another way, because people are probing us in kind of wide areas now, because we play a very narrow kind of together, compact form of football. So I think, yes, we've delivered, you know, much faster and much sooner than I ever thought we would on this Champions League ambition. But I think we've got to keep evolving a really important summer in terms of investment, because what was good enough this season to get us top four and to get us to the semi-final of the Conference League won't be good enough next season to get us top four, and won't be good enough to get us to progress, you know, beyond the first 30 stages of this new format in the Champions League. So we've got the right person in charge. We've got the right support team around him. But I think they've got a real... Now we know for definite where we're going to be next season. I think, you know, I can imagine Unai Emery. We've seen the scenes that they're all celebrating at Villa Park tonight of getting over the line. He's probably gone home by now. He's probably, you know, or he's probably in the back of a chauffeur-driven limo with his laptop open, already kind of studying the form of all the teams who could make it in there. So I don't think he'll rest for a minute, because I think he knows that he's delivered on his first bit, but that's just for starters.
Yeah, I definitely feel that sense of, this isn't the end of the journey. This is the beginning of a new one. This isn't, we've got to the Champions League, we should all be happy with that. If we lose all 8 games next season in the knockout in the group phase, you know, so be it. We had a good ride to get here. It will be okay. We've got there. Now, how do we go one further? How do we get to the knockouts? How do we progress deep into this competition? How do we qualify for some kind of European competition for the year after as well? That is the baseline now, and yeah, this is definitely the beginning of something for sure.
Yeah, and I think Matt raises a good point, and we've seen that we can evolve already from last season to this season, when Emery started talking in one of his first press conferences about we might play back 3, it might be a 4, it could be a 5, and all of a sudden we thought, okay, so where does this leave Pau Torres? And we saw him playing left back against Brentford in pre-season, which didn't work out, but you know, there's a plan. It didn't work out that way, and instead it was Conser. And there's a lot that we're going to see in pre-season, and there's a lot that's going to be experimented. As I say, Villa will have a list of targets now that they'll pursue over the summer. They've already made ground on a few, so it's going to be exciting to see what happens in the next few weeks and a couple of months ahead. But I think us as a fan base will. I mean, we've learned a lot, and we will continue to learn, and we'll have to continue to learn about not what makes a successful team. Because long before I was born, we were that. We won the European Cup, for God's sake. But this is now a new era where we are competing with state-linked ownership, clubs owned by Saudi Arabia, by Qatar, etc., Abu Dhabi. This is a whole different ball game. You have to be even better than the season before, as Matt says there, to continue to get better. You can't just stand still and hope that when Kamara comes back, we improve. And by the way, us saying this, Unai Emery will be well aware. We'll have a holding midfielder come into the club to cover Kamara for when he comes back in hopefully September or October time. So that a lot will be happening, but it's crucial that we concentrate on ourselves and know that if we improve, we'll be okay next season. But anything other than improvement, we'll be then competing beneath ourselves. I'd have thought, you've got a Newcastle, Chelsea, a lot of other clubs that will be in and around it. But as we've seen this season, if we just do our thing, it will be fine. So that's why I think next year for the Champions League campaign, let's just enjoy it, because what will be 4 home games, Villa Park, fantastic, away trips, brilliant. Hopefully a knockout in there as well, and let's see what happens after then. But in terms of the league, we'll evolve, we'll improve. I have no doubt about it. So I don't think this is kind of a flash in the pan, as I think a lot of other clubs will be obviously hoping for, and probably people in the media will be expecting. We were termed as they're the new West Ham because they've got Conference League now. I mean, how bad do those opinions look now? I mean, I thought we'd finish around 7th, kind of pushing for the top 6. I thought that was kind of Villa's level. I've been proven wrong. I think we all have, apart from you, Dan. And again, that won't be we're going to keep saying that. But Villa's level next season, they'll be fine as long as they improve and continue to evolve, as Matt says. And I don't doubt that they will do that.
This feels. Go on, Matt. You're going to say something?
No, just somebody mentioned Douglas Luiz's tweets. I've just looked for it. I just came here to find out if Rio Ferdie is okay.
Oh, no way.
Douglas Luiz. I see the future king has tweeted his congratulations as well from Kensington Palace. Just a really lovely, really kind of lovely buzz in the air, isn't there, tonight?
What Tom Hanks is thinking. What is Tom Hanks thinking? That is what I want to know. I mean, you're going to see a lot of these things, aren't you? Like Louise's tweets, players' reactions and stuff over the coming days. We're going to see so much good content from the club and the players and everything over the next few weeks. It feels like we've talked about some serious things about the Champions League tonight, and this is a night for celebration rather than kind of diving too deeply into it. I mean, we've got, I don't know, 7 or 8 weeks to go and do that, and we absolutely will. We're going to do so many different podcasts, so many different talking points, but this does feel a little bit like the final podcast of the season, even though it isn't. I think, John, you and I are doing a Q&A tomorrow, so it won't be the last one. We're doing a preview for Palace, we'll do a post-match for Palace. We've obviously got the live event coming up in a couple of weeks, but this feels like this is the pinnacle of this season. This is what we've been talking about. John, we only said this week, just want to get it over the line so we could talk about new things that we're just repeating ourselves every single week. And this is the moment we've been building to. This is the crescendo of the podcast for this season. We're going out with a celebration. It's a shame we can't be together to talk about it, but we will be in a few weeks. So to have almost 1,400 people watching live at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night is unbelievable. One of our most viewed live streams. I think this will probably be one of our most listened to episodes of the season. I would expect people. There's so many Villa podcasts out there. So firstly, thank you for choosing to watch ours this evening or listen to it on catch up. But I think Villa fans will listen to everyone. There's so much good content out there that will be speaking about Villa finishing the job tonight. So just a brilliant evening. Would have been nice to do it last night and celebrate at Villa Park, but this is the next best thing.
I've got a question for you both, and it's probably me getting a year ahead of myself. But if you could drink any drink out of the Champions League trophy, European Cup trophy to us old gits, what would it be? And it doesn't have to be. You've got to drink it as quickly as you possibly can. So, what would it be, and how many sips would you do it?
My first comeback question to that is the trophy full of it?
Yeah. It's got to be full. Yeah.
That's a big trophy.
You probably need John Duran's help to lift it, but
it's got to be something alcoholic, obviously. I know John's.
Surely though, wouldn't it?
Oh, you've got to drink the whole thing.
Yeah. You've got to drink the whole
Oh.
thing. How long would it take you? How many sips? And what would it be? So would it just be water if you know you've got to get it all down, yeah? Or
That kind of ruins the question, doesn't it?
Mine would be like Yuzu chocolate milkshake, I think.
Okay, how long will that take you to get through that?
I know there was a stupid answer and a stupid question to end the podcast.
What would you drink? Water?
Well, if it's, I mean, you've kind of killed the question there by saying like you have to finish it because it will be water because that's the most I could get. I mean, I don't know how many litres is in the Champions League trophy, but if it's 10 litres, I could get through that over the course of a couple of days probably. So water is the boring, obvious answer. If you're talking about an alcoholic drink, it's just to celebrate and you can have a point out of the trophy, then pass it on to the next person, then that's a different question.
No, it's the whole thing. What about you, John? Water?
John?
I don't drink. So, as in, I don't drink alcohol. I drink water. Yeah, if I was to guzzle it down, it would be water. I'm more interested in the Yuzu concept. No, I see they've done a big advert for a new Yuzu. I presume you've tried that, Matt.
I haven't. What flavour is it?
Okay. I don't know myself. It just comes up with it. It's more thick and it's more smooth or something along those lines. And it's a big advert these days. So I presume that was the kind of basis of your question.
New thick and creamy, chocolate or strawberry?
I don't like milkshakes, so not for me.
What's going on with you? You've never seen a Tom Hanks film?
Yeah.
Don't think.
Oh no, mate. Hold it. We've got 1,400 people listening. Stuff while you're ahead. Nothing.
Yeah, I was going to save that to another time. We've got to talk about that. Have you never seen a Tom Hanks film?
Don't know. I don't watch my movies.
I know, but even in passing, you've never seen Toy Story as a kid?
Probably. What was he in Toy Story?
Woody.
Okay. Obviously the voiceover. No. Well, yeah, I would have seen Toy Story, but I wouldn't have known. Oh, that's Tom Hanks. Movies aren't my thing, mate. Just never. Only football.
Saving Private Ryan?
No.
Castaway?
I've never heard of it.
Oh.
I'm ending the podcast on a sour note here, I can tell.
We'll cast you away if you're not lucky, John. You won't be on this podcast again.
I'm sure you used that crap joke last night to try and shut me up.
I did, yeah. Yeah, I've been with my family today, and my dad more so, and my mum actually praised you for your shoehorning in of Tom Hanks films. And I know you've still got the list there. I can see you looking for it
somewhere.
Yeah, what a joke. Are we done?
I don't know. I mean,
I could carry on for 5 hours talking about the Champions League, but yeah.
Does anyone want that?
We've got to save content, haven't we, for the next few weeks? So.
Yeah, we will be doing lots of podcasts. We said on the post-match show yesterday that I've had a few messages and comments saying like, "Oh, lads, don't kind of stop the podcast during the summer." We've been doing this 4 years now. We never do. We obviously have a little bit of time off, and at the moment we're doing like 5, 6, 7 episodes a week. We're not going to be doing that many in the summer break, but we'll probably still be doing 3 or 4 episodes most weeks throughout the summer. Obviously, for the sign players, we'll jump on and do kind of fresh looks at those, but we'll still be doing Q&As and we'll do chats about the Champions League, no doubt, the format, when the draw is done, all these different things, assessing the squad that we've got, what positions do we need, all that kind of content. There'll be other stuff as well, maybe some interviews if we get lucky, more kind of historical content. We'll do interviews with, like Matt's done bits and pieces, haven't you, Matt, with different kind of personalities in the fan base that will make little podcasts, like Daly and Atkinson's brother a couple of weeks ago. There were stories out there that we want to tell over the summer, so podcasts will absolutely not be going anywhere. There'll be still loads of content throughout the summer, right up until the build up of the new season, and then it'll be back to 5, 6, 7 episodes a week again, like we've done this season. And it's been a pleasure, hasn't it? And I know this isn't the end of the podcast. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow, most likely, or Thursday. And we've got the live show coming up. But just a huge thank you to everyone who's watched or listened throughout this season, followed the journey with us from the pre-season predictions at the start of the year, right the way through to qualifying for the Champions League with 1 game to go. I don't want to say we couldn't do it without you, because that feels like such a cringy thing to say. But if people weren't watching or listening, we would not have the desire or the resource to put as much time into it as we have. You know, the fact that people are watching it so often and listening so often gives us the motivation to keep going and keep making more stuff. So,
such a beg, aren't you? You really are.
I'm just trying to be open and honest.
Even if there was nobody on here, we'd be just chat. I'd be dressed up in my finery and we'd be chatting crap all night. So the fact that people are indulging us, we do love you all. But Dan, come on.
Oh, you would be making us do it, wouldn't you? Kind of contractually, if that was the case. But the fact that there is over 1,000 people willing to watch us live, never mind on catch up in the coming days, is a pretty special thing that I think we've been able to build over the last few years. And yeah, we've kind of set the bar for ourselves this season, I think, for the podcast going forward with the amount of work that we've put into it. So yeah, absolutely long, mate. Continue. And it will continue.
I think over the summer, I think we should do like kind of Tom Hanks films watch-alongs, like Sleepless in Seattle watch-along, as John goes through all the emotions, and that'd be brilliant.
Tell you what, maybe for the live show, like the doors open at 5, but the show starts at 8. Stick Toy Story on for a bit, get people in early. John can watch a film. Happy days, killed a bit of time.
And John with a fruit shoot and a whatever. What you drink water and you study football.
That's it.
Yeah, there's one more.
Such a student. You are kind of the press equivalent of Unai Emery, aren't you? Just a massive student of the game, aren't you? Which is that's a compliment. That's a good thing to be, isn't it?
Yes.
I've got one final thing to end on, but before that, Matt, last year you said when we beat Leicester City 2-1, if Villa qualify for the if Villa qualify for Europe this season, as in last season, you would learn to ride the unicycle by the end of the calendar year, which was 2023.
Didn't I say year or decade?
No, you did say year. I've got the receipts, and I will be sharing them. We're now almost halfway through 2024, and we will be halfway through 2024 when we get to the live show. We've not only qualified just for Europe that year. This year, we've gone one further and qualified for the Champions League. When is that unicycle featuring on this podcast?
I said that I would try to learn it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I have tried. I've tried. I've sent you a picture of me with a bloody cycle helmet on and probably some skateboard pads. I've tried. I haven't quite mastered it, but what gauntlet are you throwing down to me here, Dan?
I've got an idea in mind, but I don't know if I want to say it on the podcast publicly.
Yeah, don't. Let's discuss it off there. Before, just as a slight distraction away from that, what would your forfeit have been, incidentally, if you hadn't? Because I'm sure what I said to you on stage at that last live event, that if you were wrong, I mean, you're not wrong now, but if you were wrong, what were we going to ask you to do? Can you remember?
Well, this is the thing. I remember watching this back at some point, just checking what I said. And what we said on the night made absolutely no sense at all. Because I said, if Villa get in the top 4, I will learn to ride the unicycle with you, which I'm not doing, by the way. Obviously not. But then you said something like, no, that's not enough. I want you to eat fire. And I said, oh, if Villa get top 4, I'll eat fire. What? That makes no sense, does it? Oh, I'm doing a bad forfeit if we get top 4. So I didn't pick up on it at the time. Exactly, I know, yeah. Like, like the big sticks and you like put them down.
We'll have to find out.
So I don't need to do anything. I was right, so...
I think we should go with, if you said that if Villa get in top 4, you'll ride a unicycle with me. 2 unicycles, is that just not a normal bike? Can I just not give you a baccy somewhere?
It's a car, isn't it? Without doors and wheels and other stuff. 2 wheels side by side. Oh no, it's not, is it?
That was very Alan Partridge.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. It's not great. Maybe the live show. Maybe that's the goal.
Maybe.
Who knows?
I've broken promises before, so yeah, maybe.
Okay. All right, we've done 54 minutes. I have one more thing that I want to end on. I sent you this yesterday, so kind of brace yourselves for people will either like this or think it's cringy. Either way, I'm doing it anyway. I've been waiting so long to be talking about the Champions League. So to end the show, we will come back after this and do the proper outro. To end the show, I want you to indulge me for a second, everybody, both of you two as well. I want you to just close your eyes for a second. And I want to see you do it. Matt's done it. John's done it. Everyone listening or watching, live or on catch up. John, shut those eyes. Just close your eyes for a second and just take this in for a moment. Champions League nights at Villa Park. The squad walking out to a backdrop of smoke and flames. They line up facing the Trinity Road stand. The camera pans across the players. There's John McGinn stood there proudly as captain. The camera cuts to Unai Emery, suited and booted, and with a game plan ready to face the Spanish champions, Real Madrid. The whole tent is covered in colour, there's claret and blue ribbons and balloons and flags. Tell you what, that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? I'll tell you what, the copyright gods, please leave us alone. We do not intend to breach any copyright by using the Champions League music. We should not be using it, but for a 30-second segment in an hour-long podcast, hopefully we get away with that. Can you imagine, though, by the way, that first night at Villa Park when we're playing whoever it is and that music comes on? Like I said last year, the Conference League music is great. But how good will it be to hear the Champions League music and the patches on the badge and the big disc in the middle of the pitch? Like that is going to be special.
My spine's tingling, Dan, and the hair standing up on the back of my neck and on the back of my arm, and the couple of hairs on the top of my head are standing up. It's real, isn't it? It's actually
yeah.
That music's always been associated with somebody else.
Yeah,
associated with. I mean, I've not been. This is probably the wrong time to say this. I've not been a massive connoisseur of the Champions League. I've thought it doesn't involve us, so I'm going to go down and watch Al Owen play or watch Kiddie play on a Tuesday or Wednesday night. But sorry to our local clubs. I hope you still continue to thrive. But I probably will be watching Champions League this next season. So wonderful.
Yeah. Madness. Right. I'm going to call it a day there. What a show. What a night. Yeah, unbelievable. We said at the start, I don't know if we'll find the right words to talk through what's just happened, but we've been going for almost an hour, so looks like we did find them.
I don't know what's happened in the last 20 minutes, to be fair. There's been some scary content late night, Claret and Blue.
Like, it's always the way. It's always the way. Welcome to the show, John, for a late one. You're not normally around, are you? Thank you both for tonight and for throughout the season. As I've said, it's not over. There's no, like Unai Emery, we'll all be focusing on Palace pretty soon, and we'll be doing more podcasts this week. So this is not the end for us. Yes, John, we will. Thank you to everyone who watched along live this evening on YouTube. 1,200 people still watching is incredible. So thank you everyone for choosing to celebrate with us tonight. If you're watching this on catch up, scroll down to the YouTube comments. We now do a little thing, John, where we get people in the comments if they've watched all the way through to leave like a word, specific one. Do you want to pick what it is?
I'll go with Burnabout.
Burnabout. Can people spell Burnabout? I think I'll struggle.
Probably not.
Do you want to pick something else?
You can make it even better. Try and spell Burnabout.
Okay, all right. So in the comments down below, if you watched through the whole episode, leave the comment Burnabout, so we know that you watched the whole episode. I would just generally struggle to spell that. If you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. That would be very, very helpful to helping the podcast grow, and we'd be greatly appreciative of that. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for listening. Thank you both for joining me, and we'll see you probably tomorrow, but we'll see you soon. Bye.
We are Champions League. Say we are Champions League.
Do we sing that?
Champions League. Say we are Champions League.
Is that the song?
What?